We're living in a tough time. In fact, for some people, it's downright scary. It can be terrifying to not know what's coming next. And so when we don't know what's coming next, a lot of times we'll tend to make bad decisions because we can't seem to figure out what's on the other side of the unknown. We panic, but panic is a dangerous, dangerous thing. So I want to encourage you right now to know that the main thing is not to panic. Back in the day when I was a teenager, me and my brother used to get into trouble sometimes. I was a little bit more studious than he was, a little bit more athletic than he was. I was more into sports, and every now and then I would find myself hanging out with him getting in trouble because he was a lot more savvy in terms of getting in trouble than I was. But he would always remind me when I would start to worry, oh, we're going to get in trouble. He would say, the main thing is not to panic and keep the main thing the main thing. So I want to encourage you with that word this evening. Whether it's morning or night, wherever you are, the main thing is not to panic and keep the main thing the main thing. You know, the Bible says this in the book of John, chapter number 14, verses 1-6. Jesus said this. He said, let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. So watch this now. Just in those first few verses there, he says, let not your heart be troubled. What that suggests to you and I is that we have some control in it. We have some say-so in it. We can let or we can not let our heart be troubled. The heart is the seat of everything that we are, the very core of our personality, the very core of our intellect, the very core of everything that we are as a human being from a scriptural perspective is in our heart. And he says, let not who you are, what you are, be troubled, be shaken. The very core or foundation of who you are. Don't let it be shaken. Why? Because when you panic, you tend to make poor decisions oftentimes that you'll regret. It's really interesting as I was researching for this message that I taught this years ago, and I figured it was a good time for us to, bring this back up, especially in this difficult time. I did some research with some psychologists, some psychiatrists, some people who are in the medical profession who deal with intellectual and emotional disorders. And I found that there's one particular disorder called panic disorder. And it's defined as being different from the normal fear and anxiety of regular stressful events. Panic disorder is a condition that strikes without reason or warning, it says. Symptoms of panic disorder include sudden attacks of fear and nervousness, as well as physical symptoms of sweating and a racing heart. During a panic attack, the fear response is out of proportion for the situation, meaning that it's oftentimes overreacting to something that doesn't require that level of stress. Over time, though, a person with panic disorder develops a constant fear of having another panic attack. Watch this now. Essentially, what that's saying is that the person with that particular panic disorder is suffering from fear of fear. They're literally in a condition of being worried about having another panic attack. So therefore, there's a perpetual cycle of fear because I'm afraid. So now I'm afraid of becoming afraid because I don't like the way it makes me feel and how I react, because now I'm going to be afraid of being afraid of being afraid. And now I'm afraid. You understand there's a never ending cycle of being afraid if you're dealing with that. What's better than right now in this difficult circumstance when we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow? We don't know what's going to happen next week. We're not sure the depth of this outbreak, but we do know that we can have trust and faith in him. And one of the best ways to demonstrate your faith is to unpack the very gift that you've been given. You have a gift, you have a talent. Now you've got some time. You're able to sit home from work or from school, or you're not as busy as you were with your clients because your clients are starting to cancel. You've got time now to unpack your gifts, write down your creative ideas. And so the good news is you shall live and not die. Things shall change. They may never be the same that they were. But the thing is, many times we tend to get complacent, stuck where we are because we don't want to change because we've gotten comfortable in doing it. We don't want to. Change is uncomfortable. Maybe I'll talk about that in the next one. Change is uncomfortable. Two things that are always constant, time and change. And many times we don't want to make a change because it's uncomfortable. Could it be that God shifted this situation, this pandemic in our way to cause us to make some changes that we didn't want to take or make? Think about it. But I'm encouraged though. Meanwhile, know this. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And the main thing is not to panic. Keep the main thing the main thing. God bless you.